Question 1. What legal responsibilities do real estate agents in Florida have regarding the disclosure of property defects? A. Disclose only if asked by the buyer. B. No disclosure required. C. Disclose all known material defects. D. Disclose only structural defects. Answer: C. Disclose all known material defects. Explanation: in Florida, real estate agents are legally required to disclose all known material defects and property. This includes any issues that could affect the property's value or desirability. Question 2. Explain the impact of Florida's Save Our Homes Amendment on property tax assessments. A. It eliminates property taxes for primary residences. B. Limits the annual increase in assessed value of homestead properties. C. Increases property taxes annually by a fixed rate. D. Applies only to commercial properties. Answer: B. Limits the annual increase in assessed value of homestead properties. Explanation: Florida's Save Our Homes Amendment limits the annual increase in the assessed value of homestead properties, protecting homeowners from large annual increases in property taxes. Question 3. Scenario: a real estate transaction in Florida falls through due to an undisclosed sinkhole. What are the legal repercussions for the seller? A. No repercussions, as sinkholes are common in Florida. B. Potential lawsuit for nondisclosure. C. Mandatory compensation to the buyer. D. A fine from the state government. Answer: B. Potential lawsuit for nondisclosure. Explanation: if a real estate transaction in Florida falls through due to an undisclosed sinkhole, the seller could face legal repercussions, including a potential lawsuit for failing to disclose a material defect. Question 4. In Florida, how is the homestead exemption calculated, and what impact does it have on property taxes? A. A fixed percentage reduction in property taxes. B. Reduction in taxable value for primary residences. C. Exempts the property from all taxes. D. Based on the homeowner's income. Answer: B. Reduction in taxable value for primary residences. Explanation: in Florida, the homestead exemption reduces the taxable value of a primary residence, which in turn lowers the property taxes owed by the homeowner. Question 5. Describe the role and authority of the Florida Real Estate Commission, FREC, in regulating real estate practices. A. Provides financial assistance to real estate agents. B. Regulates and licenses real estate professionals. C. Only handles real estate transactions. D. Offers real estate education courses. Answer: B. Regulates and licenses real estate professionals. Explanation: the Florida Real Estate Commission, FREC, plays a crucial role in regulating real estate practices by licensing and overseeing real estate professionals, ensuring they adhere to legal and ethical standards. Question 6. Scenario: a commercial property in Florida faces a rezoning challenge that affects its use. What steps can the owner take? A. Accept the rezoning without objection. B. Apply for a variance or rezoning. C. Sell the property immediately. D. Cease all business operations. Answer: B. Apply for a variance or rezoning. Explanation: if a commercial property in Florida faces a rezoning challenge, the owner can take steps such as applying for a variance or seeking rezoning, allowing them to continue using the property as desired. Question 7. What constitutes a legal real estate advertisement in Florida, and what are the penalties for violations? A. No specific legal requirements. B. Must include the agent's license number. C. Truthful and non-misleading with professional status disclosure. D. Approval from FREC before publication. Answer: C. Truthful and non-misleading with professional status disclosure. Explanation: in Florida, Legal real estate advertisements must be truthful and non-misleading and must clearly disclose the professional status of the advertiser. Violations can result in penalties, including fines and disciplinary actions. Question 8. How does the Florida Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act protect real estate consumers? A. Offers a money-back guarantee. B. Prevents deceptive and unfair practices in real estate. C. Sets fixed real estate prices. D. Provides free legal advice. Answer. B. Prevents deceptive and unfair practices in real estate. Explanation. The Florida Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act protects real estate consumers by prohibiting deceptive, unfair, and fraudulent practices, ensuring a fair and transparent marketplace. Question 9. Scenario. A buyer in Florida discovers undisclosed damage after closing. What recourse is available under Florida law? A. No recourse is available after closing. B. File a complaint with FREC. C. Seek legal action for nondisclosure. D. Request a refund from the seller. Answer. C. Seek legal action for nondisclosure. Explanation. If a buyer in Florida discovers undisclosed damage after closing, they may have legal recourse by taking action against the seller for nondisclosure of material defects. Question 10. What are the essential elements of a valid real estate contract in Florida? A. Written document and witness signatures. B. Offer, acceptance, consideration, and legal purpose. C. Notarization and state approval. D. Property description and buyer's income proof. Answer. B. Offer, acceptance, consideration, and legal purpose. Explanation. A valid real estate contract in Florida must include essential elements such as an offer, acceptance, consideration, something of value exchanged, and a legal purpose. Question 11. Explain Florida's laws regarding coastal property rights and construction regulations. A. No restrictions on coastal property development. B. Strict building codes and environmental protection measures. C. Only aesthetic guidelines apply. D. Mandatory state approval for all coastal properties. Answer. B. Strict building codes and environmental protection measures. Explanation. Florida's laws regarding coastal property rights include strict building codes and environmental protection measures to ensure sustainable development and protect coastal ecosystems. Question 12. Scenario. A Florida property is sold with an undisclosed easement. What are the implications for the new owner? A. The easement is nullified upon sale. B. The new owner must honor the existing easement. C. Full compensation from the seller. D. The right to remove the easement unilaterally. Answer. B. The new owner must honor the existing easement. Explanation. If a Florida property is sold with an undisclosed easement, the new owner is legally bound to honor it, as easements are usually attached to the property rather than the owner. Question 13. How do zoning laws in Florida affect real estate development and property use? A. Zoning laws are only advisory. B. Dictate land use, building types, and density. C. Apply only to commercial properties. D. Focus solely on environmental conservation. Answer. B. Dictate land use, building types, and density. Explanation. Zoning laws in Florida significantly affect real estate development by dictating the permitted land use, types of buildings, density, and other development standards in different areas. Question 14. Describe the process and requirements for obtaining a real estate license in Florida. A. Only a high school diploma is required. B. Complete required education, pass the state exam, and background check. C. Membership in a real estate association. D. No specific process. Anyone can sell real estate. Answer: B. Complete required education, pass the state exam, and background check. Explanation: to obtain a real estate license in Florida, one must complete the required education, pass the state licensing exam, and undergo a background check. Question 15. Scenario: a tenant in Florida is wrongfully evicted. What legal protections do they have under Florida's landlord-tenant law? A. No protections. Eviction is always lawful. B. Right to sue for wrongful eviction and seek damages. C. Immediate reinstatement into the property. D. Mandatory mediation only. Answer: B. Right to sue for wrongful eviction and seek damages. Explanation: if a tenant in Florida is wrongfully evicted, they are protected under Florida's landlord-tenant law and have the right to sue the landlord for wrongful eviction and seek compensation for any damages incurred. Question 16. What are the key considerations for a real estate transaction involving a property in a flood zone in Florida? A. Flood zones have no impact on transactions. B. Flood insurance requirements and potential risks. C. Only the aesthetic impact of flood protection measures. D. Mandatory elevation of the property. Answer: B. Flood insurance requirements and potential risks. Explanation: when involved in a real estate transaction with a property in a flood zone in Florida, key considerations include the requirements for flood insurance and understanding the potential risks and impacts of flooding on the property. Question 17. Explain the concept of marketable title and its significance in Florida real estate transactions. A. Title with marketable value. B. Title free from significant lines or disputes. C. The most expensive type of title insurance. D. Title approved by a real estate agent. Answer: B. Title free from significant lines or disputes. Explanation: in Florida, a marketable title refers to a property title that is free from significant lines, encumbrances, or legal disputes, making it more attractive and safer for buyers in real estate transactions. Question 18. Scenario: a real estate agent in Florida is accused of unethical practices. What actions can the FREC take? A. Immediate license revocation without investigation. B. Investigate and impose penalties, including fines or license suspension. C. Mandatory retraining in ethics. D. No action. FREC does not handle ethics issues. Answer: B. Investigate and impose penalties, including fines or license suspension. Explanation: if a real estate agent in Florida is accused of unethical practices, the FREC can investigate the allegations and, if found valid, impose penalties such as fines, license suspension, or revocation. Question 19. How is agency defined in Florida real estate, and what types of agency relationships are permitted? A. Only exclusive agency agreements are permitted. B. Agency defined by verbal agreement, all types permitted. C. Defined by written agreement, single, transaction broker, and no brokerage relationship. D. Agency is not recognized in Florida real estate. Answer: C. Defined by written agreement, single, transaction broker, and no brokerage relationship. Explanation: in Florida real estate, agency is defined through a written agreement, and the permitted types of agency relationships include single agency, transaction broker, and no brokerage relationship. Question 20. What are the legal implications of a breach of fiduciary duty by a real estate professional in Florida? A. No legal implications, only ethical concerns. B. License suspension and possible civil liability. C. A fine paid to the FREC. D. Mandatory ethics training. Answer: B. License suspension and possible civil liability. Explanation: A breach of fiduciary duty by a real estate professional in Florida can lead to serious legal implications, including the suspension of their license and potential civil liability for any damages caused by the breach. Question 21. What steps must be taken to legally convert a single-family residence into a rental property in Florida? A. No steps required. Automatic conversion. B. Obtain a rental license. Comply with safety regulations. C. Pay a conversion fee to the state. D. Only notify the local homeowners association. Answer. B. Obtain a rental license. Comply with safety regulations. Explanation. To legally convert a single-family residence into a rental property in Florida, the owner must obtain a rental license and ensure the property complies with all relevant safety and housing regulations. Question 22. Scenario. A Florida homeowner discovers a historical artifact on their property. What are their legal obligations regarding this find? A. Keep it secret. B. Report the find to state authorities. C. Sell the artifact to the highest bidder. D. Destroy the artifact. Answer. B. Report the find to state authorities. Explanation. If a homeowner in Florida discovers a historical artifact on their property, they are legally obligated to report the find to state authorities, as it could be of significant historical and archaeological value. Question 23. How does Florida law regulate the handling and return of security deposits by landlords? A. Landlords can keep security deposits indefinitely. B. Must be returned within 15 days if no claim, 30 days with a claim. C. Return only upon tenant's request. D. No regulation, up to the landlord's discretion. Answer. B. Must be returned within 15 days if no claim, 30 days with a claim. Explanation. Florida law requires landlords to return security deposits within 15 days if there is no claim against it, or provide a written notice of claim within 30 days if deductions are made for damages. Question 24. In Florida, what are the consequences for a real estate agent who engages in the unauthorized practice of law? A. A warning for the first offense. B. License revocation and potential legal action. C. Mandatory legal education. D. No consequences as it's common practice. Answer. B. License revocation and potential legal action. Explanation. Engaging in the unauthorized practice of law can result in severe consequences for a real estate agent in Florida, including license revocation and potential legal action against them. Question 25. Scenario. A buyer in Florida purchases a home and later discovers it's in a historical preservation district. How does this affect their rights to modify the property? A. No effect. They can modify freely. B. Must obtain special permits for modifications. C. Only interior modifications allowed. D. Property cannot be modified in any way. Answer. B. Must obtain special permits for modifications. Explanation. Buying a home in a historical preservation district in Florida often means that the owner must obtain special permits and adhere to guidelines for any modifications to preserve the historical integrity of the property. Question 26. Explain the purpose and process of a title search in Florida real estate transactions. A. To determine the property's market value. B. To verify legal ownership and check for lines or encumbrances. C. Mandatory inspection for structural defects. D. To assess property taxes. Answer. B. To verify legal ownership and check for lines or encumbrances. Explanation. A title search in Florida real estate transactions is conducted to verify the legal ownership of the property and to check for any lines, encumbrances, or other issues that might affect the title. Question 27. What are the specific licensing requirements for a real estate broker in Florida? A. same as a sales associate. B. Additional experience, education, and passing the broker exam. C. Only a financial background check. D. Membership in a national real estate organization. Answer: B. Additional experience, education, and passing the broker exam. Explanation: to become a real estate broker in Florida, one must have additional experience as a sales associate, complete further education, and pass the state broker licensing exam. Question 28. Scenario: a Florida property listed for sale is found to have unpermitted additions. What implications does this have for the sale? A. The sale is automatically canceled. B. Potential legal issues may affect property value and insurance. C. No implications, common in Florida. D. The buyer assumes responsibility. Answer: B. Potential legal issues may affect property value and insurance. Explanation: unpermitted additions in a Florida property listed for sale can lead to potential legal issues, may negatively impact the property's value, and could affect insurance coverage. Question 29. How do Florida's environmental laws affect real estate development near protected natural areas? A. No impact. Development is unrestricted. B. Stricter building regulations and potential restrictions. C. Only affects large-scale developments. D. Mandatory environmental impact fees. Answer: B. Stricter building regulations and potential restrictions. Explanation: Florida's environmental laws can impose stricter building regulations and potential restrictions on real estate development near protected natural areas to preserve the environment and ecosystems. Question 30. In Florida, what disclosures are required regarding the presence of radon gas in a property? A. Mandatory radon testing for all properties. B. No disclosure required. C. Disclosure of known radon hazards. D. Only for properties built before 1978. Answer: C. Disclosure of known radon hazards. Explanation: in Florida, sellers are required to disclose any known radon hazards in a property, as radon gas can pose significant health risks. Question 31. Scenario: a tenant in a Florida rental property refuses to vacate after the lease termination. What legal remedies are available to the landlord? A. Immediate physical eviction by the landlord. B. Filing an eviction lawsuit in court. C. Withholding the tenant's personal belongings. D. Cutting off utilities to the property. Answer: B. Filing an eviction lawsuit in court. Explanation: if a tenant in Florida refuses to vacate a rental property after lease termination, the landlord's legal remedy is to file an eviction lawsuit in court. Question 32. Describe the process and requirements for filing a complaint against a real estate agent in Florida. A. Complaints can only be filed by other real estate agents. B. Submit a written complaint to the FREC. C. No formal process. Complaints are informal. D. Direct legal action against the agent. Answer: B. Submit a written complaint to the FREC. Explanation: to file a complaint against a real estate agent in Florida, one must submit a written complaint to the Florida Real Estate Commission, FREC, which will then investigate the allegations. Question 33. What are the implications of Florida's 3-day notice rule in the eviction process? A. Tenants can be evicted without notice. B. Landlords must provide tenants with a 3-day notice to pay rent or vacate. C. Eviction notice must be given 3 days in advance. D. Only applies to commercial properties. Answer: B. Landlords must provide tenants with a 3-day notice to pay rent or vacate. Explanation: Florida's 3-day notice rule in the eviction process requires landlords to give tenants a 3-day notice to pay the overdue rent or vacate the property before proceeding with eviction. Question 34. Scenario. A real estate investor in Florida is considering a property in a flood zone. What factors should they consider before purchasing? A. Only the property's aesthetic appeal. B. Flood insurance requirements, risk of flooding, and potential impact on property value. C. Property size and layout only. D. Proximity to commercial areas. Answer. B. Flood insurance requirements, risk of flooding, and potential impact on property value. Explanation. When considering a property in a flood zone in Florida, an investor should evaluate factors such as the requirements and cost of flood insurance, the risk and frequency of flooding, and how it might impact the property's value. Question 35. How does Florida law address the division of property in a divorce case? A. Split equally regardless of circumstances. B. Based on a prenuptial agreement only. C. Equitable distribution based on various factors. D. The property is always awarded to the spouse with custody of children. Answer. C. Equitable distribution based on various factors. Explanation. Florida law addresses the division of property in a divorce case through equitable distribution, which considers various factors such as the duration of the marriage, contributions to the marriage, and the economic circumstances of each spouse. Question 36. What is the significance of the as-is residential contract for sale and purchase in Florida real estate transactions? A. The property is sold without any warranty. B. The seller is responsible for all repairs. C. Mandatory inspection by the state. D. The buyer must renovate the property before sale. Answer. A. The property is sold without any warranty. Explanation. The as-is residential contract for sale and purchase in Florida indicates that the property is being sold in its current condition, with the seller not obligated to make any repairs or provide any warranties. Question 37. Scenario. A Florida condominium association imposes new fees. What rights do the condo owners have in this situation? A. Refuse to pay any new fees. B. Right to challenge the fees if they're unreasonable or not in line with the association's bylaws. C. No rights. The association has full authority. D. Automatically dissolve the association. Answer. B. Right to challenge the fees if they're unreasonable or not in line with the association's bylaws. Explanation. Condo owners in Florida have the right to challenge new fees imposed by the condominium association if they believe the fees are unreasonable or not in accordance with the association's bylaws or declaration. Question 38. Explain the legal concept of adverse possession in Florida and the requirements to claim it. A. Taking possession of property through payment. B. Open, notorious, continuous, and exclusive possession for 7 years. C. Adverse possession is not recognized in Florida. D. Only through a court order. Answer. B. Open, notorious, continuous, and exclusive possession for 7 years. Explanation. Adverse possession in Florida requires open, notorious, continuous, and exclusive possession of the property for a period of 7 years, along with payment of property taxes. Question 39. In Florida, what are the legal ramifications of failing to disclose known property defects in a real estate transaction? A. The buyer assumes all risks. B. Seller can be held liable for non-disclosure. C. Mandatory return of the property to the seller. D. No ramifications as all sales are final. Answer. B. Seller can be held liable for non-disclosure. Explanation. In Florida, if a seller fails to disclose known property defects in a real estate transaction, they can be held legally liable for non-disclosure, potentially facing a lawsuit and damages. Question 40. Scenario. A real estate development project in Florida is challenged due to potential environmental impact. What steps must the developer take to comply with state regulations? A. Proceed without regard to environmental impact. B. Conduct an environmental impact assessment and obtain necessary permits. C. Transfer the project to another state. D. Pay an environmental impact fee. Answer. B. Conduct an environmental impact assessment and obtain necessary permits. Explanation. If a real estate development project in Florida faces challenges due to potential environmental impact, the developer must conduct an environmental impact assessment and obtain the necessary permits to ensure compliance with state environmental regulations. Question 41. What is the legal significance of a good faith estimate in Florida real estate transactions? A. Indicates the property's market value. B. An estimate of closing costs provided to the buyer. C. A guarantee of the final sale price. D. An appraisal of the property's condition. Answer. B. An estimate of closing costs provided to the buyer. Explanation. In Florida real estate transactions, a good faith estimate is a document provided to the buyer that outlines an estimate of the closing costs they are likely to incur. This helps buyers prepare financially for the transaction. Question 42. Scenario. A real estate brokerage in Florida is accused of commingling funds. What does this mean, and what are the potential consequences? A. Mixing personal funds with client funds. B. Overcharging clients. C. Failing to deposit funds in a timely manner. D. Not providing receipts for transactions. Answer. A. Mixing personal funds with client funds. Explanation. Commingling funds in a real estate brokerage context refers to the unethical practice of mixing personal funds with client funds. In Florida, this can lead to severe consequences, including license suspension or revocation and legal action. Question 43. Explain the right of first refusal in Florida real estate and how it might be used. A. First choice to buy a property at a fixed price. B. The right to refuse any real estate transaction. C. A buyer's right to first inspect a property. D. The seller's right to refuse the first offer. Answer. A. First choice to buy a property at a fixed price. Explanation. The right of first refusal in Florida real estate is a contractual right that gives a person or entity the first opportunity to purchase a property at a specified price before the seller can offer it to others. Question 44. Describe the process of obtaining a mortgage in Florida. A. Simply signing a contract with a bank. B. Credit check, application, appraisal, and underwriting. C. Providing a full cash deposit up front. D. Only available to Florida residents. Answer. B. Credit check, application, appraisal, and underwriting. Explanation. Obtaining a mortgage in Florida involves several steps, including a credit check, completing a mortgage application, property appraisal, and underwriting process to assess the borrower's ability to repay the loan. Question 45. Scenario. An environmental hazard is discovered on a property after a sale in Florida. Who is liable for remediation? A. The state government. B. The buyer as the new property owner. C. The seller, if they knew about the hazard. D. The real estate agent involved in the transaction. Answer. C. The seller, if they knew about the hazard. Explanation. If an environmental hazard is discovered on a property after a sale in Florida, the seller could be liable for remediation costs, especially if they were aware of the hazard and did not disclose it during the sale. Question 46. In Florida, how are property boundaries determined and disputed? A. By the local government's decision. B. through property deeds, surveys, and sometimes court proceedings. C. Only by mutual agreement between neighbors. D. Based on historical use regardless of deeds. Answer. B. Through property deeds, surveys, and sometimes court proceedings. Explanation. Property boundaries in Florida are typically determined by property deeds and surveys. In cases of disputes, the issue may need to be resolved through court proceedings. Question 47. What is the purpose of the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, RDSP, and how does it affect real estate transactions in Florida? A. Sets maximum commission rates for agents. B. Requires disclosure of all costs and fees to buyers and sellers. C. Regulates the rental market. D. Applies only to commercial real estate transactions. Answer. B. Requires disclosure of all costs and fees to buyers and sellers. Explanation. The Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, RESP, aims to ensure transparency in real estate transactions by requiring the disclosure of all costs and fees to buyers and sellers, preventing surprises at closing. Question 48. What is a 1031 exchange in real estate, and how is it used in Florida? A. A swap of investment properties to defer capital gains taxes. B. A method to quickly sell properties. C. An exchange of properties between family members. D. A way to avoid property inspections. Answer. A. A swap of investment properties to defer capital gains taxes. Explanation. A 1031 exchange in real estate, used in Florida and elsewhere, allows investors to swap investment properties and defer paying capital gains taxes on the exchange under specific conditions. Question 49. Define ad valorem tax and its relevance in Florida real estate. A. A tax based on the income generated from the property. B. A fixed tax rate for all properties. C. A tax based on the property's assessed value. D. Only applicable to commercial properties. Answer. C. A tax based on the property's assessed value. Explanation. Ad valorem tax in Florida real estate is a property tax based on the assessed value of the property. It is a significant consideration for property owners as it affects their annual tax liability. Question 50. Scenario. A property in Florida is sold with an undisclosed sinkhole issue. What legal actions can the buyer take post-purchase? A. Immediate property return to the seller. B. Legal action against the seller for non-disclosure. C. File a complaint with the local government. D. No action. The buyer assumes all risks. Answer. B. Legal action against the seller for non-disclosure. Explanation. If a property in Florida is sold with an undisclosed sinkhole issue, the buyer may take legal action against the seller for failing to disclose a material defect in the property. Question 51. Explain the concept of condominium and how it differs from a cooperative in Florida. A. Condominiums are rentals. Cooperatives are owned. B. No difference between the two in Florida. C. Condominiums involve individual unit ownership. Cooperatives involve shares in the building. D. Cooperatives are only for commercial properties. Answer. C. Condominiums involve individual unit ownership. Cooperatives involve shares in the building. Explanation. In Florida, a condominium involves the individual ownership of a unit within a larger building, whereas in a cooperative, residents own shares in the corporation that owns the building, not the individual units. Question 52. What are the implications of the lead-based paint disclosure in Florida real estate transactions? A. Mandatory removal of lead-based paint before sale. B. Disclosure required for homes built before 1978. C. No implications. Lead-based paint is not a concern. D. Applies only to commercial properties. Answer. B. Disclosure required for homes built before 1978. Explanation. In Florida, the LEED-based paint disclosure is required for any real estate transaction involving homes built before 1978. Sellers must disclose the presence of LEED-based paint, a known health hazard, especially to children. Question 53. Scenario. Greg, a real estate agent in Florida, is representing both the buyer and seller in a transaction. What disclosures are required in this dual agency situation? A. No disclosure is necessary. B. Full disclosure to and written consent from both parties. C. Only disclose to the seller. D. Dual agency is illegal in Florida. Answer. D. Dual agency is illegal in Florida. Explanation. In Florida, dual agency, where an agent represents both the buyer and seller in the same transaction, is illegal. Agents can only act as transaction brokers, facilitating the deal without representing either party's interests. Question 54. In Florida, how does a life estate work, and what are its implications for property ownership? A. Temporary ownership with a fixed expiration date. B. Permanent ownership that cannot be sold. C. Ownership for the lifetime of the individual, then passes to a remainderman. D. A lease agreement with an option to buy. Answer. C. Ownership for the lifetime of the individual, then passes to a remainderman. Explanation. A life estate in Florida is a form of property ownership where an individual owns the property for their lifetime. After their death, the property automatically passes to a designated remainderman. Question 55. What are the key differences between residential and commercial real estate transactions in Florida? A. No differences. The same laws apply to both. B. Different financing, appraisal, and zoning regulations. C. Commercial transactions are tax-free. D. Only residential transactions require a real estate agent. Answer. B. Different financing, appraisal, and zoning regulations. Explanation. Residential and commercial real estate transactions in Florida differ in several aspects, including financing methods, appraisal processes, and zoning regulations, reflecting the distinct nature of these markets. Question 56. Scenario. A property owner in Florida wants to subdivide their land. What are the legal and zoning considerations they must address? A. No legal considerations. Owners can subdivide freely. B. Compliance with local zoning laws and potential need for rezoning or variances. C. Only need to inform neighbors. D. Mandatory state approval for all subdivisions. Answer. B. Compliance with local zoning laws and potential need for rezoning or variances. Explanation. When subdividing land in Florida, property owners must comply with local zoning laws, which may require rezoning or obtaining variances, ensuring that the subdivision aligns with area development plans. Question 57. Explain the role of a title company in a Florida real estate transaction. A. To negotiate the sale price. B. Conducts title searches, provides title insurance. C. Only handles property appraisals. D. Acts as a real estate agent. Answer. B. Conducts title searches, provides title insurance. Explanation. In Florida, a title company plays a crucial role in real estate transactions by conducting title searches to ensure clear ownership and providing title insurance to protect against future claims or legal issues. Question 58. What is usury, and how does it apply to real estate financing in Florida? A. Government tax on real estate sales. B. Charging interest rates above the legal limit. C. A discount on mortgage rates for first-time buyers. D. Mandatory insurance on real estate loans. Answer. B. Charging interest rates above the legal limit. Explanation. Usury, in the context of real estate financing in Florida, refers to charging interest rates on loans that exceed the legal limit set by state law. Lenders engaging in usury can face legal penalties. Question 59. Scenario. In Florida, a tenant discovers mold in their rental unit. What are their rights and the landlord's responsibilities in this situation? A. Tenant must clean the mold themselves. B. Landlord must address and remediate the mold issue. C. No action required. Mold is common in Florida. D. Tenant has the right to terminate the lease immediately. Answer. B. Landlord must address and remediate the mold issue. Explanation. In Florida, if a tenant discovers mold in their rental unit, the landlord is responsible for addressing and remediating the mold issue, as it can pose health risks and affect the habitability of the property. Question 60. Describe the purpose and process of a real estate appraisal in Florida. A. Determines the seller's income. B. Assesses the property's market value for a sale or loan. C. To calculate property taxes only. D. Appraisal is not required in Florida. Answer. B. Assesses the property's market value for a sale or loan. Explanation. A real estate appraisal in Florida is conducted to assess the market value of a property, typically for a sale or as part of a loan application process. The appraisal considers various factors like location, condition, and market trends to determine the property's value.